Welcome students, Tom Harmer, your accounting professor here, and this is a demonstration of how to do journal entries in QuickBooks. Additionally, towards the end, there's how to edit errors and things of that nature, and print your reports, and to just view reports on your screen to check what you've done. And from there you can go and you can make corrections. So here we go. This is the demonstration. That Windows tab, and there is my instructions for making journal entries in QuickBooks with screen prints of the various screens involved. Okay, so I'm going to flip over here so we're going to be walking through this printout here of instructions with screenshots of the various windows in QuickBooks, and I'm going to go over to QuickBooks now and we will demonstrate what these instructions are telling us to do. Okay, so I'm going to hold on my Alt key and tab over here to, let's see, okay, there we go, and I have, let's see, QuickBooks running right over here. There we go. So I'm in Microsoft Windows. I know that Macintosh has their own system of using multiple windows. And I'll let those Macintosh people figure that one out over there. Okay, so here we are in QuickBooks. I've gone ahead, we've set up our chart of accounts. Let's go over and just make sure we've got that there. I come here, I just move my mouse right over reports and the sub-menu comes up. There's memorized reports. I click on that. There's that chart of accounts we've created. Double click on that. And there's the chart of accounts. Now I have some balances here because I've entered some transactions for this demonstration already. But in any case, you can always pop over and just take a look at your memorized reports. We're going to create some more here shortly. Now, we flip over here to our instructions, and it says to get to the journal entry, click on the banking and scroll down to make journal entry. Okay, so I come back here, and actually if I just highlight banking, if I click on it, it's going to pop me into a window I don't want to go to. Look at that. It comes up, you know, do I want to create, I don't have an account set up, it's called a bank account. We don't want to do that. Okay, we're not using the check register system here. But if I come over here and I just go highlight, put my mouse over banking, come over to more, and then come down to journal entry here. Okay, let's come back to our instructions. You see, so I've highlighted banking, I came over to more, and then I click on journal entry. So I got my instructions there, and that's how you get into the journal entry tool in QuickBooks. So journal entry. Okay. Now you know there's many other types of data entry avenues in QuickBooks that we're not using here because we are staying coordinated with what our publisher and our textbook does, which is we're doing everything through the general journal as far as transactions. That's the book of original entry. We're not using all the other specialty journals that are out there. This class just keeps it simple, so we're staying simple in that regard and just using the general journal. So here I am, I'm in a general journal page. Okay, I've already entered some journal entries, so over here on the right it says journal entry number. It is incremented up to journal entry 7 automatically because I've already entered the first 6 journal entries. Over here we have a date field. So any transaction you're entering, you know, you have your data sheet that you're using for Sullivan Realty, and it has the transaction dates there, and that's what you want to put here. And it also has the journal entry reference number, and they're all in numerical order. So you start with transaction 1. As you enter these journal entries, it'll increment right onwards. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate a compound journal entry. It'll show you best some of the issues here in doing a journal entry in QuickBooks. A bit different than the manual system that we did in Excel in our manual accounting project. So here I've got The date here on my transaction I'm demonstrating is June 16th. This is June 9th here. There's a couple of ways to get that to June 16th. I can click on this and I can go to June 16th. That's one way to do it. Or I can just enter the number 061611 tab, okay? And that brings it up too. And personally, I find that to be a lot quicker. But we get our date there, and we use our tab key for entering, not the enter key, okay? So now it's tab. When I hit the tab key, it automatically went to JE7, and that's the correct journal entry reference number. And then I go tab again, and now it's looking for our general ledger accounts, okay? There's a number of ways that you'll find very user-friendly here for this thing will pull up accounts. Let's say I want to go to 115 office supplies. I have what I'm entering here is of course different than your Sullivan assignment. This is just sample data. But we've gone to Office Depot and we've purchased a number of items. We've purchased 8.5 by 11 paper for office supplies. We've purchased HP printer, which would be office equipment, and we've purchased some printer toner, which is going to be an office supplies expense because we can't inventory toner. It's in our printer. So we've got this, and we're doing it all on account under terms, 2% discount if paid in 10 days or otherwise net 30. So that's the transaction we're going to enter here. Now the first field here, we've got to start off. We always do debits first when we journalize transactions. And so first one I've got here, I'm going for office supplies. Now I can go alphanumerically on this. If I go 115, boom, there's office supplies. Okay, so that's just using the number. If you know the number, you can just enter it in. Okay, if you don't know the number and you know the account name, you could type in OFF and then boom, office something, whether it's equipment or supplies, is going to show up. Okay, so that's a very user-friendly way to go. So in my example here, we paid $97 for reams of printer paper. Okay, so and that was in the debit column. I have no credit here, so, and then I put my memo. Now in the manual system, we did our debits and credits, and then we had an explanation below that journal entry that gave the check number, the invoice number, the vendor name, description of the transaction. In QuickBooks here, we enter all of that information in the first line here. Okay, so I'm going to put here Office Depot, invoice number, okay, I got 1685, and this is terms 210 in 30, and in chapter 6 you'll see those terms talked about. Okay, so alright, so then I hit my tab key. We aren't requiring using the name fields over here. There's other, if we had set this up with accounts payable, we'd have vendor names required. But we're just doing journal entries on this. So I go tab again, and I'm down to my next line. So I purchased the HP printer. That's office equipment 121. Let me type in OFF. OFF brought up office equipment. If I pull down this menu here, you see I can see all my accounts and I can scroll to them, you see. So it's really user-friendly on getting to our accounts. Okay, I hit my tab key, and you see it's defaulted to a credit of 97, so it's always keeping these transactions in balance. Well, it was $300 we paid for that printer, okay? So I'm just enter the $300, it's on the invoice for the printer, boom, it gets rid of the credit, and then I'm going to put over here, comma, HP printer. Now you see, because I used the tabs to move down this screen, it copied the memo from the prior field, and that saves a lot of data input time typing these descriptions. So here's my next one. So I go tab, and then I purchased printer toner, which we're going to book directly to office supplies expense. In this demonstration here, totally different than what your assignment is in Sullivan, but 517, okay, boom, there's office supplies expense, and I have that down as $45. and this is not HP, but this is toner. Okay, tab. Now, and this is all on account. We didn't pay any cash for this, so I'm just going to go to, that brings up, like our numbering system is 100 account numbers or assets, 200 are payables and liabilities, 300 is capital, 400 is revenue, 500 is expenses, right? Okay, so here I go tab, and it defaults with the total of all of our debits. Boom, there we go, there's our invoice total. So now I've got my, this is not toner in here anymore, so I'll clean that up. So this is invoice 1685, terms 210 net 30, and I'm ready to save. So now one thing to mention here, I'm not using this memo field down here. As we look at reports, you'll see why. So I mentioned on the sample over here that okay, so I went through the date demonstration there, and I've gone through the verbal demonstration on that. I'm showing you all of the same information I just demonstrated to you here. But it says right here, do not use, and that's hard to see. Maybe I'll come up here to view, and I'll go zoom, and come up here to 150%. Okay, there we go. And you see it says, don't use this field for journal entry descriptions. Use the memo fields above adjacent to the amounts. Okay, so you use them here. Don't bother using this. It doesn't show up in reports where we want it. And that's just the way QuickBooks is. So that's my instruction to you here. Okay, so here we go. We don't use this memo field, and we've entered our journal entry completely. So we come over here and we click Save. Boom. So it's saved. Now you notice over here, we've come back to another blank journal page, and we're at JE8. So it's proceeded to journal entry number 8. We didn't have to enter anything there. It defaults to the same date, which my next example is on the 17th, so I'm going 061711, tab, and in this case, let's see, what do I got here? I'm paid cash for gas. Okay, so I go gas, boom, there's gas, and I've got $85. And here I've got, let's see, check number 1002, Shell Oil. Okay, tab, and then cash is just going to be CA, boom, there's cash. It's done. So then I come down, my memos are completed, nothing down in that memo field. I come over and I click to save. Boom, okay? So there, you're going to go through and you're going to enter all of your external transactions. Okay, I've got one more demonstration here on the 18th. We've had a sale. We've got a cash sale here. This is a commission on the sale of real estate, okay? So this is 061811. Tab, JE9, that's correct. And I've got cash, CA, boom, 4200, and tab, and come to the memo field. Oops, okay, typo, Smith, sale, and just an address 823 Grand Avenue, tab. And this is going to be the commissions, and that's a 400. Boom, if I hit a 4, there comes commissions earned. It defaults to the 4200. That's it. I'm not using this memo field. I come down, I click to save. So now you've seen me go through a number of different transactions. When we start doing the adjusting journal entries, and then we would be changing this entry number over here to be as per the instructions, AJE or 06 AJE-123 for adjusting entries. But before you enter your adjusting entries, you may want to create a journal and take a look at how you've done on your external transactions, all the transactions provided in that data transaction form for Sullivan for June. Okay, so let's go over and let's create a journal report. Okay, so I come to reports here, and click on reports, boom, and here comes our page with all our various reports. To find the journal page, we scroll down here to this accountant and taxes section, and there's our trial balance. We're not going to do that yet. Here's our journal, okay? So I click on journal, and boom, here's a blank journal. It's blank because the date range is wrong here. So I'm going to go get the dates here, 06/01/11 to 06/30/11, tab, and then I click on Run Report, and it's going to bring up the journal that I've just created. There's all the transactions. Now, so you can, after you've done your journal, you can, check it out and see how it compares to the one that you did on Sullivan manually. And from here, now what we want to do next is we want to memorize that. So to memorize this, I come over here and click Memorize. Boom. And there's our journal, okay? And we're going to share this with all users. We'll just go ahead and take that one, share it with all users, and save it. So now that is a saved report. We can come back to our memorized reports here anytime, and there's our journal. Boom. Double click, and there's our report. See how quickly it comes back? So the next report we want to do, because we want to check to see how we did compared to our manual accounting project, see if we've done everything right here. I can move on to do another report called the trial balance. So I click on reports again, come down to accountant and taxes, double click on trial balance. Okay, here comes the trial balance. Set our dates, 06/01/11, tab 06/30/11, tab, run report. Okay, so if you've entered all your external transactions, you could create this report, this trial balance report, and it should be exactly the same as the trial balance you have in your worksheet for external transactions. It would be the first pair of columns. So you can check your work there. Okay, so I'm going to memorize this. Okay, share with all. Boom. Okay, so there you go. We now have memorized, if you take a look at our memorized reports, there's our chart of accounts, our journal, and our trial balance. Okay, so you can pop back and forth to these anytime, real easily, to check your work. Now let me point out here a couple of things you can do. Like if let's say that your cash account number is wrong. You know, there's an error in that cash account. Watch how you can easily fix that. You double click on it, and then boom, now you're right in that cash account, and you can see all the transactions posted to that cash account. And say that owner contribution, actually, we hadn't contributed $15,000, we'd actually contributed $14,000 in cash. So I double click on that transaction. Now boom, here I am. So I'm going to change that to $14,000, and and then we'll have to get it to balance. Now watch if I try to save that. Save. Oh, following errors occur, it's out of balance. You cannot save out of balance. Okay, so we're going to come back here, and we're going to put 17,000. See, now I save that. Okay, so now I see it's worked. There's a cash account. My ending balance has changed because I reduced that from 15,000 to 14,000. Okay, and so then I come back to my memorized reports, and I come back to my trial balance. And there it is with our corrected balance there. Okay, so any account balance that's wrong, you just double click on it and you go right into the general ledger account with all the transactions, and you can make corrections there. Okay, so there's our, like I just jumped into the capital account. Okay, so that is a review of doing journal entries, editing journal entries, correcting journal entries, creating the general journal and memorizing it, and creating the trial balance and memorizing it. So there is your demonstration of how to do a journal entry and those various reports. Thank you very much.